Hello, everyone, and welcome to our podcast. Today's podcast is about generative AI, and we'll be talking about the future of generative AI. This is a place where we explore the fascinating world of generative AI and its impact on the society. In today's episode, we will deep dive on the concepts of generative AI and its applications, its ethical concerns related to it, and what potential it is actually holding to enhance the creativity and try to collaborate in a way where it can contribute to the society. I'll not take much of a time, but introduce you to our guest who will be joining us and giving us information about generative AI. So, hi Sam, welcome to the podcast. Can you introduce yourself to the crowd that we are having here?
Pratik, first of all, thank you for having me here. It's an honor speaking on generative AI with the community. As you know, my name is Syed Ahmed Muzammil. I go by Sam. I've been working at Accelerate for the last 2 years as tech lead.
Mhm. I'll better not waste much of the time and jump on the perfect question that I have first for you, which is kind of very interesting for me as well as people who are watching this. Sam, can you tell me like what exactly is generative AI?
Uh, okay, let's assume generative AI is a person, or something like that. So
Mhm.
imagine there's a painter like Picasso,
Okay.
a spellbinding author like Shakespeare,
Mhm.
and a programmer like Guido van Rossum, all in one. Wouldn't
Okay.
that be great to
Of
have
course.
someone like that?
Yeah.
But conceptually speaking, generative AI refers to the branch of artificial intelligence that is
Mhm.
designed to
Mhm.
generate or create new contents like images,
Mhm.
music, text, or even the whole virtual world.
Okay.
So just like it uses the state-of-the-art deep learning algorithms. For
Mhm.
example, you can take GN or LLM for text and blogs, etc. And this generative AI is completely different from our traditional machine learning models because it not only analyzes and derives insight out of data, but it generates new data. So
Mhm.
you see, there's a whole shift in the paradigm in the space of technology innovation because of this generative AI.
Yeah, of course, of course, of course. If you talk about, AI taking over the creativity of musicians and people that you just mentioned over here. Of course, it will have an impact, which will be good because, and all I see, if in future, if emotional intelligence get added into this one, then of course it will be a great boom for everybody who's working on AI. The next question that I have for you when you talk about LLM and GA. So, I would like to know what exactly is LLM and GA that you mentioned just now.
LLM stands for large language model.
Hmm.
This ChatGPT 3 is the implementation of it. So large language models are models that are trained on huge amount of data,
Okay.
and they produce coherent and contextually relevant text out of it.
Hmm.
Uh, the key or milestone development was GPT 2 and GPT 3,
Hmm.
and since then this transformer architecture has been used, and it's being taking boom every day. Every single day there is no new plugin or a new development on top of it, we
Yeah.
are seeing every day. Then
Yes. Yes.
GN stands for Generative Adversarial Network.
Okay.
Uh, it's a neural network of two. So it's like two people working in together, and like more like a pair programming, as we see.
Yeah.
So what happens is one of the network is called generator network. The
Mhm.
job of that is to generate new data samples from the training samples.
Okay. Okay.
And there's this discriminator network that the job of it is to identify, okay, this is not the real data, this is not this is fake data.
Yeah.
So input from both, each they train together, in pair. Loss of one is considered to be the gain of other. If this the second network is performing better, it says, okay, this is fake data. The
Mhm.
next time the generator generates even better data, and like that both of them work together, and they end up giving us one of the best data. It's being used for generating images and all those things. So
Yes. 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 If we talk about here, so like it is giving, sorry, it takes random input, but it generates the synthetic data samples, if I'm not wrong, right?
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
the random input or noise it takes as data,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then creates synthesis new data out of it.
Thinking about it more, it actually makes me jump to a question that how does generative AI it will be used to enhance creativity and collaboration in various industries. If we talk about all this thing, so it has to be inculcated in those things. So how does it work on this?
This generative AI, its application, its usage is wide. It,
Mhm.
it covers length and breadth of the industry.
Mhm.
But to point a few, I would say we can see huge impact of generative AI in the field of art and design. Generative AI can assist the artist and designer in exploring new possibilities, creating new
Okay.
ideas. A generative AI could generate unique visual conceptual concepts, and provide inspiration to the artists.
Of
Then
course,
you
of
talk
course.
about content creation. This generative AI can automate the content creation process. The whole process would be revolutionized with this. In the field of advertising, marketing, entertainment, all will be impacted. Generative AI can create personalized product
Of
recommendations,
course.
create engaging social media posts, and even generate let's say scripts or video advertisements. So
Of
this
course.
would streamline the need of enterprise to create or contents at a scale.
Of
Then
course.
you talk about music, as you were
Of
just
course.
mentioning. So
Yeah.
music and sound generation, generative AI can compose music and generate melodies and create unique sound effects that can augment with what the artists are creating, and it would give a whole new sphere. Then
Yeah.
talk about virtual gaming
Hmm.
and augmented reality, and all those things are a lot being worked upon these days, and generative AI can create
Hmm.
immersive virtual environments,
Yeah.
populate game worlds, characters, landscapes, buildings for the games, etc. The whole staging environment and everything. Then generative AI can be very useful in like we were discussing about generating new data. So
Hmm.
data augmentation process would be benefited a lot using generative AI. These machine learning models that we have, they are only as good as the data they are trained on. And
Of
there
course.
are
Yeah.
certain use cases in which we don't get or we cannot accumulate data, enough data samples for
Yes.
training our
Yes.
machine learning
Yes.
models. So
Of
this
course.
generative AI can create data for such models.
Yeah.
Over time the accuracy and performance would increase because of the healthcare data they are that the Gen AI is generating: healthcare, finance, autonomous mobiles, etc.
Of course. Of course. Of course. Of course. So, like, if you talk about it, you mean to say it can actually enhance the accuracy and performance of the AI systems across various industries, right? Like if we
Across
consider
various industries, yeah.
healthcare and finance, of course. So, of course, like you
It
have
would be a
given.
symbiotic growth. Generative AI would
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
be, creating more machine learning models. More machine learning models mean, again, development in AI sector.
Yes.
It's a symbiotic growth.
Of course, of course. So, if you talk about the growth that we want to see in these industries, so if you want to pick from your side, if I want to ask you that, Sam, can you tell me some of the most interesting generative AI tools right now in the market? So, what would be your picks?
There are plenty of generative AI tools, and
Mhm.
every day we get to see that, okay, there are new tools coming up.
Uh-huh.
But I would say, to name a few, I would say Synthesia is one,
Okay.
a generative AI tool. DALI 2, and ChatGPT 3 that everybody knows of.
Everybody knows. Yeah.
GPT-4 has been launched, and you
Mhm.
know, OpenAI and GitHub, they have in partnership have created called something called GitHub Copilot, which is used for
Okay.
writing code, debugging. It's like peer programming with a machine
Mhm.
learning model helping you out. So that
Okay.
would be great.
So,
I think these are few tools that we should look for.
okay, okay. So I feel the job of developers is at risk or not. But of course, that's a point rather to discuss afterwards. So if you talk about the tools that
A lot of people say this, with machines coming, what will happen? I say, don't worry. We are human beings. We are the best machines that the
yes, yes,
universe
of
has
course.
produced.
Of course, of
So
course.
nothing to worry about it.
Yeah, it will take a lot of time for AI to take our energy out of what we are thinking. So, of course, that's a point to be discussed afterwards. But if you talk about the tools, if you are mentioning all the tools that we have, all the impact that it can create on the society and the industries, so we also need to make sure that we have some ethical concerns surrounding to the generative AI, and of course, what potential impact it brings on the society. So, what are your thoughts on that?
You know, a few years back, let's say 5 or 10 years back, when we used to watch Hollywood movies, and there would be a scientist who would be creating a robot,
Mhm.
and then halfway during the movie, he would feel like, okay, I have created something bad. It's being used for the purpose he didn't intend that robot. And created it. So he's
Yeah,
trying to, switch it off, turn it off, or try to, fuse the system, and
yeah.
he fails somehow miserably. So all these debates that people writers and movie makers they were having in their literature
Mhm,
soon is
mhm,
going to be a relevant debate for our leaders, politicians, lawmakers.
mhm.
We have entered into an era where all those sci-fi things are going to be something
Of
impacting every
course.
day. So yes, there are ethical concerns, and to name a few, I would say this generative AI deep fake videos and pictures,
Hmm,
they can seriously damage someone's reputation. They can cause several political catastrophe if used in such a way.
mhm. Okay,
So
okay.
misinformation is one problem.
Mhm.
I'm sure you must have heard of that Obama deepfake video that was
Yes,
created, I
yes,
believe,
yes. Yeah,
in Stanford researchers had created.
yes.
So that was an example. You know, privacy concerns are there. Generative AI is being trained on sensitive information, personal information. So if someone has so much of information, there is always a chance of privacy breach when we are talking about information. So that's one concern.
Yeah, of
Then
course.
we have a problem of bias and discrimination being enhanced or increased because of these machine learning models, because machine learning models are trained on data could be biased, and when
Hmm.
a biased data is generating a content, that content would be discriminatory. The outcome of that would be discriminatory in some sense. So that's one
Of
problem.
course,
Then
of course.
intellectual property and copyright, the framework, the laws that we have to ensure intellectual property and copyrights as of now, the whole framework has to be redesigned,
Hmm.
because generative AI blurs the line between ownership and copyright.
Of course, of course, of course. Yeah.
So these are few concerns that the lawmakers and leaders should take care of,
Hmm.
responsibility with responsibility, and also the people who are creating these models and using these models should be equally cautious about what they are doing and how they are doing it.
Yes, yes. So of course, I'm like all the ethical concerns that you mentioned. Industries have to be a bit more aware on that, because it's like a growing AI. It's like I don't feel like we have a full stop over the AI in the coming times. It might take a lot of time to make more and more progress over that. So of course, taking in consideration the whole ethical concerns, we have to make sure about it. I was just going through the chat and I saw one person who is asking about LLM. So he actually wants to know what exactly is the history of LLM, like how did it came out, what exactly we have for that.
Okay, so this LLM or large language model, ChatGPT 3, all these things are, uh, last couple of days or months, I would say, it has been, a buzz of everyone's talking about. But these are
Mhm.
not something that, just came up. LLM have a fascinating history that dates back to 1960,
Okay.
give or take.
Hmm.
So with the creation of first ever chatbot, Elisa, that was
Okay.
designed by MIT researchers. So that was the first implementation. Then
Hmm.
we had LSTM, long short-term memory networks, in 1997,
Okay.
which allowed for the creation of even deeper or more complex neural networks and
Yeah.
capability of handling significant amount of data.
Hmm. Hmm.
Then there was a pivotal moment, in all these things, that came at Stanford's Core NLP suite, when Stanford developed its Core NLP suite
Okay.
back in 2010, 11. I'm not sure of the date. Maybe it was 2010.
Okay.
And then in 2011, Google's Brain was launched,
Okay.
and that actually paved the way for this massive advancement in this field. Such as the introduction of transformer models in 2017. So this GPT is a transformer model.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it was Google Brain that had came in 2011, and it paved the way for new research on top of it, and new
Yeah.
developments. So
Yes.
this would be some of the important milestones that we have seen in LLM history.
Great, great, great. Thank you for putting that information, and it will actually prove to be a fruitful insight for the viewers that you have just put on here. So, to all of you, as we wrap up this episode, we have delved into the world of generative AI and explored its various aspects. So, we learned from Sam, who was an expert, that AI is a branch of artificial intelligence that focuses on creating new and original content through unsupervised learning. Okay, and its application spans across industries from creativity, healthcare, and it has a lot of potential and a potential to collaborate even more. So, however, of course, we have to be aware about the ethical concerns surrounding to it, and such as deepfakes and copyright infringements, such as Sam mentioned. And based on that, we have to be transparent to ensure that the technology is getting into the right direction. And of course, the emergence of large language models like GPT-3, as you've mentioned, Sam, it has been revolutionizing the whole industry, whole NLP that we are having, and it's allowing the human and AI collaboration, of course, and where humans can leverage the capabilities of AI to augment the creative endeavors. So, as we move forward, it's important to consider that generative AI has an impact on society. It will embrace the collaborative approach, and the AI technologies will, of course, work in hand to make sure that we drive the innovation in the right way. So, thank you for joining us, Sam, in the episode of Generative AI, the future that we are having to say into it. We hope that our viewers found our exploration of generative AI enlightening, and we look forward to bringing you more and more exciting topics. Just remember that the world of AI is constantly evolving, so it's up to us how to harness it, or maybe how to benefit for the humanity. Thank you so
Yep.
much, Sam, for joining. I hope even you enjoyed explaining all the
Yeah,
things to
that
us.
that was fun. Questions were nice, and it was really an honor.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Sam.